Welcome to the section of cardiology. This is Dr. Jaitly. In this section, I'll be talking to you about educating young children to prevent heart disease in adults takes you a long way. Believe me, just like our great grandmothers always told us, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. One should never forget that. And I think that's where we are heading now in preventative illnesses and preventative cardiovascular illnesses specifically. A lot of the conditions that we have talked about in the past or will be talking in the future, they are very, very preventable. And practicing preventative cardiology has been a very, very important part of my life as well. So one of the things that the kids or the young children at the school level should be educated about is the various cardiovascular risk factors. And what are those risk factors? Obviously, somebody has to be told about overweight. Somebody has to be told about ill eating habits. Somebody has to be told about what is inactivity and therefore how activity can help. And then, of course, the social ills like the smoking and the drugs. And they should never ever even try, because once you try, then you become addicted and it's hard to say no. So always say no right in the first instance, and that has to be taught to the young kids that they cannot smoke and they should not smoke and they should never ever ever use drugs either. So weight control should be managed by looking at the BMI charts, which the nurses at the school level should take the responsibility and follow the children pretty much on a monthly basis, because the moment the graph is going either way, at that point that child should be advised and recommended. And then the parents, the teachers, and the nutritionists should immediately interact together and start to help the child in a very, very constructive way. Because once the habit sets in, then it becomes the practice of life. And it's like, you start eating something, then that becomes your practice of your life. So it's very important that you begin to set the practice right in the beginning with the right habits. So the nutritionist will have to monitor the food habits and will advise the kids, before it's too late. And likewise, the doctors at the school level will have to do a regular physical and try to listen to the heart murmurs, try to understand if there is any ailment which suggests like maybe frequency of chest pain, lack of activity, physical activity, or overweight, and there's some family history of underlying cardiovascular illnesses in that child. I think that child will have to be treated as more specially in that regard. Now, the nutrition pyramid here I've shown on the right panel is a very important part where the children, the kids at school should be really familiarized with. Now, this bottom should be the pyramid, again, imaginary pyramid here, but just to let you know, the top is the apex and this is the base. So the base should be the largest, and that's where the most servings in the nutrition should come from, mainly from vegetables and fruits. I know a lot of kids will say, but you know what? They can make it very interesting. That's the part the school cafeteria or the nutritionist or the chefs will have to play, as well as at the house where moms and dads are involved. So have to be creative. And so olive oil and sunflower or even safflower oil, vegetable oils are healthy, unlike the mayonnaise and butter and cheese all the time. Wheat bread is excellent, oats, cereals, and corn. But again, all of this has to be supplemented with increased physical activity, otherwise it's no good. Now, the nuts and seeds and beans have been less emphasized, and it's so important that somebody should really, advise the children that 2 to 3 servings of poultry, eggs, tofu, fish, these are excellent choices to make a heart healthy diet. And 1 to 2 servings of low-fat milk, maybe yogurt or cheese. It's so important, and then they can supplement that with vitamin D, which may be utilized in the free nature just by playing a sport out in the out in the sun, etc. So, and I've seen that at the schools, unfortunately, the physical activity is also lacking these days, and that's so important that we need to sort of intensify that part. And sparingly, somebody should be involved with red meat and soda, and definitely butter, sweets, and salt. Say no, because all of that, once you get hooked onto this, then you can't enjoy your diet at all for the rest of your life. So if you start very early, not to mingle with soda drinks and sweetened beverages, etc., the chances are your habits will be clean. Nothing wrong with plain water, and that's what you want to have as a drink, with the food. So, let's go back to the good old self where we were eating healthy. Now, physical activity is very important. I think 45 minutes to an hour of some, encouraging sport play or physical activity like education, etc. It's so important. Stretching exercises, muscle training, aerobics at the gym, at the school gym. I know all these schools, they are really well equipped with all the staff and the trainers and what have you. But we have to get the kids motivated to get into them. And there should be a designated hour or at least half an hour, during the built-in curriculum for the day in order to maintain that activity. That'll certainly keep them away from the television and sitting around. So it's very important that the kids can really benefit from. And now at home, it's very important that the kids should participate in the discussion of the parents' illnesses. Say the father or the mother, the mom and dads or uncles and aunts, they have hypertension, diabetes, and high cholesterol or heart disease. It's okay to discuss that with them and freely tell them that, look, I manage my condition, and I'm doing this and this in my diet and my activity, and I take the advice by the doctor. And I don't want you to suffer as we grow up, because we have genes. Your genes are coming from us. So this is how the parents will have to address very early on, and that makes a big difference. And definitely not set an example by smoking, and definitely not set an example by drinking. So those are very, very important things that the kids will pick up immediately, and sort of steer their ship in their lives accordingly and lead a very heart healthy life. I thank you for your attention and talk to you again more. Bye.